Greetings, lovely people, and welcome to Fast Track 4. Today we're going to be talking about The Boys, Season 3, Episode 4. I almost said something completely different there. Glorious 5-year plan. And, oh boy, definitely spoilers ahead of this one. Let's just jump into it. So we start off, as a lot of these episodes do, with a show, just not a Vought-produced one, at least I don't think so, it's not got that branding, and it's called Solid Gold. It's essentially like a Top of the Pops type show, it's live music performances. That's probably a reference that most people in this audience won't get, but yeah, that's what it showered to me, Top of the Pops sort of deal. And Soulja Boy made a guest appearance on it, and MM is watching it, and just getting angry, and, just being generally, just hating Soulja Boy. We cut back with Butcher and Huey, and Butcher's just cleaning up the sick, and, Huey's just talking, they're just annoyed. Well, Huey, they're both just, kind of trying to get to grips with the fact that, obviously, they have temporary compound V, and it makes you very sick afterwards. Yeah, it's interesting. Homelander is back on the Cameron Coleman Hour, which is the talk show he was on before, in episode 1, I think. And Homelander talks about how there's essentially a shadow government. So it's very, far-right extremism, reflective of reality in the US for the last few years. But yeah, he just discusses that sort of stuff. But Stan asks Newman, obviously his adopted daughter sort of thing, to give him a fine. To give Homelander a fine for swearing on live TV and stuff, and just generally being a nuisance. And she originally agrees to it. I'll get to more of that a little bit later in the episode, but yeah. Butcher, thanks to Frenchie, meets with Nina, as was set up in last episode. Huey and Starlight reconcile over the Homelander kiss, which is going to go live. It is going to become the plot line, I guess, for the 7 right now. Homelander catches them talking about it, and kind of confronts Huey to some extent, almost getting to the point where he will just cut him in half until Starlight kind of reins him in a little bit. And for some reason, Homelander feels the need to sign Huey's cast, which is interesting. But, yeah. Ashley delays social justice. A-Train essentially A-Train's wanting to do his whole Blue Hawk social justice thing, and Ashley's just kind of maybe later. And they do a parody of the Kendall Jenner Coke ad, obviously, to kind of do the same social justice thing, but it's woke justice. It's the whole fake, just to sell products sort of thing, and it is to sell A-Train's energy drink, which I can't remember the name of. I didn't write it down, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a good parody. It was just it felt so out of place with everything else going on. This episode is all over the place, thematically. It's not a bad thing. It's some major whiplash. So the boys are flying private. It's the first time Huey has actually left the country, apparently, which is pretty interesting. And Frenchie just doesn't trust Nina. Still thinks that Sherry is in trouble. Starlight meets with Maeve, and basically they find out that, Starlight finds out that Maeve is the one that's been giving information to the boys this whole time, which obviously we knew for a while. It's weird that Starlight didn't know, but yeah, and they decided they do need to make a team against the Homelander, so that they can take him out if this weapon is found, if this secret weapon is actually found. We cut to Russia with the boys, and Russia is just covered in the 7 graffiti. There's even the Maeve in the form of Saturn eating his son. If you don't know that painting, I can't remember the artist off the top of my head, it's really bugging me. But yeah, there's even a Maeve version of that painting, which is very interesting. But yeah, a lot of hate for the 7 apparently, or just supes in general over in Russia. And Nina, rather than wanting Sherry dead, she instead wants this oligarch dead. So that is the thing that they need to do. Kimiko initially refuses to be, in her own words, a gun, or in her own text, I suppose, a gun. And essentially, Butcher just says, that's what you are. Which, isn't great, but he gets kind of shut down by MM a little bit later. Starlight asks Alex who I still haven't written down the intro name, but it is said, the superhero name, a few times, but I'll just call him Alex. Starlight asks Alex to help her and Maeve. He agrees. Alex jokes about loving Starlight, but just agrees because it's the right thing. Homelander is kind of racist to Alex, with Alex being Hispanic. He continues to try and speak Spanish to him. He serves him tacos or something to that effect, something that's like stereotypically like Mexican or something of that sort of idea. You know, it's purposely done because he's trying to be bad towards Alex. A-Train tries to discuss Blue Hawk's actions, being a bit racist and stuff, and wanting to talk to him. And the Deep, thanks to his wife, defends Blue Hawk, which actually puts him on the good side with Homelander. We then find out that Newman is doing a press conference, which is obviously to do with, you know, calling out and fining Homelander for his actions, which obviously Homelander can't have happen. A-Train and the Deep then beat on each other. They just like beat each other up a little bit in the hallway. Homelander, you know, sides with the Deep because of course, and then Alex helps A-Train and brings A-Train onto the Homelander team. I'll get to that in a little bit. Butcher and MM have a bit of a heart-to-heart about how MM is there to care about everyone else, and the reason why Butcher is being such a bastard right now is because MM's there. He doesn't have to be toned back. He can be a full arsehole. He can be his like unfiltered self because MM's there to be the kind person, the caring person, the one that is there to lead. And I think it's quite a nice moment between them. Kimiko is dressed all shiny. She's obviously dressed to be like stereotypically attractive or whatever. It's just a very glittery dress. I quite like it. It is what it is. The oligarch, to me, I don't know if it was an intentional thing, very much remind me of Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that's a sore topic for a lot of people, but like, it just gave me that vibe. He was that type of person. And he has a collection of 7 themed dildos and vibrators, which he wants to use on his harem of women. And before he gets to do anything like that, though, good old Kimiko kills him by slamming Black Noir's Silent Screamer vibrator through his head. Yeah, it's something, that's for sure. And yeah, she kills off all the guards and everything, but she doesn't, and she even gets shot by one of the girls, but she doesn't touch the girls because she knows that they're all like sex slaves essentially, or something to that effect, and they were just scared. So it's like she doesn't hold any war against them, but I'll get back to that in a moment because it is brought up later in the episode. We then have Newman's press conference, in which she actually turns on Stan. And now Homelander has taken over Vought. He is now in charge of Vought. And it turns out he threatened Zoe, and Newman has to put her first, which is fair enough. Zoe is Newman's biological daughter, or presumed biological daughter. And, so Stan is now on the defensive with everyone against him, whether rightly so or not. But that's the current thing. Ashley is now in charge of scripts and essentially the top person under Homelander, and she threatens to peg a writer with a Homelander-themed strap-on. It's the same Homelander-themed dildo that we saw the oligarch have. So, very interesting, very interesting. Kimiko joins back with the boys, and she just has a bit of a heart-to-heart with Frenchie, just going over how she feels bad about the essentially sex slaves that, you know, were there, and how it really reminded her of how she was trafficked and stuff like that. It's a very emotional scene. Probably not given as much way as it needed to be, but it's hard when one of the characters doesn't speak and the other one has a thick French accent, so it is what it is. They agree that it's just Frenchie and her, and they plan to go Marseille after the job, which of course means tragedy is about to happen. So Homelander meets with Newman. Homelander gives her Stan's dossier on her, all the information that Stan had been keeping on Newman. And also, what I thought initially was the recipe for Compound V, but I believe was literally just a syringe of Compound V, which I'll get to a little bit later. And he does then leave by saying he's glad she chose her own kind, which, you can kill the Nazi, but you can't take the Nazi out of Homelander, can you? Oh boy. So we jump back to Butcher. Butcher's shooting up the V-24. Huey asks to take some as well. And Butcher says it's punishment, not power, which I think is a real powerful statement, especially coming from Butcher, who, is someone who respects power, just not superpower. You know what I mean? So it's like, the fact he's calling it punishment really shows that it's like, even in his hands, he doesn't like it. It's not good in anyone's hands for him. Homelander confronts Stan. It's just a bit of a regular confrontation. Stan walks away from it handily. He's not scared of Homelander. Homelander isn't scared of Stan anymore. It's just one of those things. It's just a bit of a stalemate at this point. And Newman gives Zoe Compound V. And it's painful. And it's awful. And I really hope that Zoe actually comes out of it good and doesn't accidentally kill Newman. Because that'd be dreadful. That honestly, this season has really made me like Newman as a character. She's a very deep rooted character. I don't know. I hope that nothing goes wrong for her. I hope that she comes out of this okay. The boys break into this Russian military base where the weapon apparently is. They find a V'd up hamster, which is interesting. It sets off an alarm because it gets too active. The Russians attack, and Butcher manages to defeat most of them. One of them is about to kill but Huey also took V-24, and Huey can teleport, heal, and is just super strong. So the basic set is always healing and strength and invulnerability to some extent. Huey just happens to have teleportation rather than laser vision or flight or whatever else. But the clothes don't travel with him, so he teleports and he's immediately naked. So that's the thing. But yeah, Butcher just breaks open this cryo chamber that they were looking at earlier, and Soldier Boy is inside, which as soon as they broke it open, in fact, as soon as they showed that there was a cryo chamber, I was like, it's probably Soldier Boy. I doubt it's going to be a new thing, but it was interesting, that's for sure. But yeah, Soldier Boy is inside it, and alive, and naked, and he shoots Kimiko with a blast of energy, which is not in his original power set. They even mentioned that that's not something he could normally do, so that's kind of worrying, that maybe the Russians have experimented on him a little bit. It's hard to say. But yeah, shoots Kimiko, she goes through a wall, and she isn't healing. She's been impaled with steel rods. I think it's just one, but I'm going to say multiple just in case, because I didn't properly manage to see. But yeah, she isn't healing, which is bad, because she normally heals instantly, or near instantly, and very rarely gets, critical damage, even when she's shot in the head. She's usually up in a few seconds, so not good. says there's no team anymore to Butcher, basically just being like, I can't hold this together anymore because there isn't anyone. You've ripped them apart. Huey's jacked up on V. Frenchie is a nervous wreck. Butcher is also on V and an arsehole, and Kimiko is dying in the back of the van. And it's as I say, tragedy always comes when people plan ahead in shows like this. So, yeah. I thought it would be Frenchie that died because Kimiko is indestructible. But the fact it might be Kimiko... Oh, if Kimiko dies, I'm going to be... Oh, I'm going to be sad. I'd be sad if Frenchie died as well, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. So yeah, Homelander flies carrying Starlight up to a rooftop. It's mostly for the show of it, but he takes her to a rooftop, and Alex is dead and dismembered on that rooftop. Homelander found out from A-Train about the whole plan for them to turn on Homelander, and he's killed Alex. So, yeah, that character that we were just starting to somewhat enjoy, dead. Gone. Torn apart like so many other characters in the show. And, I think I mentioned it in one of the previous Fast Track Thoughts, but, Supes very rarely die in the series, and when they do, it's always so gruesome. And yeah, This is another one. And then Homelander basically finishes by threatening he'd do the same to Huey if, Maeve and Starlight don't back off. So there we go. That is the episode. And I don't think there's anything else I can add. This was a good episode. Again, this series so far, 4 episodes in, really good. And if you enjoyed my coverage of it, this episode of Fast Track Thoughts, make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new here, and ring that bell so you don't miss any of our uploads. As of this going up, it should be on Friday, so either later today or sometime tomorrow, I will have the Fast Track Thoughts for the next episode, for episode 5, going up. So keep an eye out for that, but otherwise, that's going to be it from me. So thanks for watching, I'll see you next time, and yeah, bye!